I'm going to conduct an interview of myself and ask myself some questions. First question, Gail, isn't it true that the reason you won't give up on Brent Spiner is because you desperately wish for him to love you and you know deep down inside that he does not love you? Is that what's driven you since the 1990s to now to never give up on Brent? Actually, no. Desperate wish fulfillment is not one of my weaknesses. Um, Let me tell you, you may find this hard to believe, but when I first found out about Loree McBride in June 1996, I cried for a whole month because it just it just didn't make any sense to me. And I actually screamed at Brent on the phone. I said, "Why do you have this person in your life when you made a music album for me? Oh, Yellow Eyes is back. And when you spoke to me on and said things like, 'Can I come over? I want to rape you.' And I said, 'I want an explanation. Explain this to me.'" And I went, and I was really confused because God gave me a promise in 1992 that he would give Brent to me in the future and that it was part of his plan. So I was really super confused. And after a month of crying and praying and with my just laying flat down on the floor and praying, I decided the honorable thing to do, the only way I could respect myself, was I had to just totally give up on the idea of having Brent as a lover. Though I did have enough honor that I knew my husband was a jerk. And I knew that Brent was better than my husband. So I kept Brent in my life as a friend only. And I actually quit dreaming about making love to him for 3 years. I was so disgusted over Loree McBride. And I substituted him with Franco Nero because I knew I had grown as a person because of Brent in my life. And I knew I could not go back to who I was, the submissive housewife and mother to an emotionally abusive husband. So I knew Brent helped me to find myself and helped me to be true to who I really am. And so I decided I would substitute him with Franco Nero. And Franco Nero did find Brent actually added Franco onto my phone's wiretap. See, Brent had a wiretap of my phone at that time, and that's how we communicated. Though he did all the listening and I did all the talking. But he was there. He used to make like these, he had a device where he could make like beepy noises on my phone to let me know he was listening to me. And I presume that the reason he wouldn't talk to me after 1994 was because it had something to do with Paramount Studios. I knew he didn't love Loree because I knew him well enough from listening to his music and from how he talked to me on the phone that he could never love somebody like Loree McBride. When I saw pictures of her online, I didn't perceive that she was as bad as she was, but she definitely did not look like his type. I perceived that Brent was a deep introvert, a very deep person from the way he talked to me, and I could tell she wasn't his type. So I thought, why in the world is he hanging out in public? And I noticed that she always appeared in public with him. Usually when somebody's in a relationship with a person, especially if it's a celebrity, they don't like to go public because they don't want to be crucified by the tabloids. They usually prefer to be low profile, which is basically how I felt about Brent in the 1990s. Let me tell you who has a problem with wishing and fantasies. It's Loree McBride. Loree McBride is the one who suffers from wish fulfillment obsession. She knows deep in her heart that the real Brent Spiner does not love her. She knows the only way she can get Brent to go to bed with her is she has to either drug rape him or use some sort of extortion on him. The only way she could live in Brent's house was she had to break in using Jesuit technology. They had transporter technology, and she threatened to kill me if Brent wouldn't play her game. So she knows the only way she was able to maintain her relationship all these years is through extortion. If she didn't threaten to kill me, Brent would have dropped her, boom, within 10 seconds. He's never wanted her from day one. So um, you would say, well, why have you stuck with him? I have very strong faith in Jesus. Actually, it was Jesus who told me, and I prayed. It was 2 a.m, and a still small voice came to my head, and it said, Loree McBride is a Vatican agent. Jesus himself told me she was. And then when I looked back over the past 8 years of my life, and I was able to put it all together, and I realized, I thought she was a Paramount Studios agent, and I didn't know that it went actually deeper than that. She was a Roman Catholic Church agent. And I thought, oh my God, no wonder Brent hasn't been able to get rid of her. I had already read like Jack Chick's Smokescreens and The Secret History of the Jesuits by Edmund Paris at that time. So I was aware that they were very powerful. And, they take down presidents. They're the deep state. So once I realized that, I thought, oh my God, that means she was planted in Brent's life, and she was created just to cause problems between me and Brent. I realized that the Vatican did not want me to marry Brent Spiner. And so they created her to get between us. And when I figured out that that was the problem, then I realized that she must have done something terrible to get into Brent's life, and that the only reason he played her game was to protect me. And then my opinion changed from him within hours. Once the Lord told me that she was a Vatican agent, I thought, oh my God. And I've been telling Brent he's a coward. I used to get on the phone and say, you coward, I can tell you don't love this Loree McBride. So why do you have her in your life? Are you worried about losing money? Is it some sort of deal you got with Paramount? I said, you know what? And I said this to him on the phone. I said, you know what? I'm going to keep you as a friend, because even though I don't respect you anymore, you are better than my husband. So I'm going to keep you as a friend. I said, but I just don't respect you anymore. You're a coward. You know that I like my men to be macho and masculine and courageous, and you are a wimp. I would tell him this. And then when the Lord told me she was a Vatican agent, my opinion of him changed overnight. I thought, this guy's not a wimp. He's a hero. She's probably a bitch. I thought, oh my God, she must have done something horrible that he can't get rid of her. And the only reason he's kept her is to protect me. He didn't want to lose his communication with me, and he had to play her game. And I cried for 3 hours. I said, oh, Brent, forgive me. I thought you were a coward. You're the opposite. You're a hero. You're just like Jesus. You would die for me. And that's why I haven't given up on him. Now, I didn't know all the lurid details about what she did. I didn't realize that at that time, in December 99, I was unaware of the existence of clones, and I was unaware of the brain control technology the Jesuits had. All I knew was they had a lot of advanced technology, and I knew she was a Jesuit. She was a Roman Catholic agent, and I suspected a Jesuit because I knew the Jesuits. I had the book Secret History of the Jesuits. So my opinion of, once I realized he was a hero, you see, my problem was I didn't believe heroes existed. I thought the only hero was Jesus Christ. And being married to somebody who was a very small criminal person, my husband, the reason Brent brought such sunshine into my life is because he seemed to be such a great and vast and brave man. And when I learned about Loree McBride, I figured, oh, I've been dreaming about him. See, I thought that I suffered from desperate wish fulfillment from 1991 to 1996, when I would listen to his musical Yellow Eyes Is Back and think, oh, this great man who's just like Jesus really exists. He really exists. And I just And then when I found out about Loree, I thought, oh, great, he's a crud. I guess I thought he's not really that great. And that was so disappointing to me. So I might have suffered from desperate wish fulfillment from 1991 to 1996 in that I thought that I had made him out to be a greater man than he was. See, I was already married and my financial needs were being met. She's dropping bombs. And my sexual needs were kind of being met. I mean, I could have sex with my ex anytime I want. The only problem was the way he did it. He didn't put any love into his moves because he didn't have any love for me. And Brent seemed to genuinely love me. So that's why I kept him. And then when I found out about Loree, I thought that I still felt that I knew he had feelings for me, but I began to doubt whether they were as high and noble and great as I thought the feelings were from 1991 to 1996. But when I found out about Loree, I realized that his love for me was deep and true, and that he was the dream man that I thought he was. And I asked him to forgive me, and I said, there's only one way I can make it up to him, that I called him all these horrible things. I said, I offer you my hand in marriage. I'm going to divorce my husband because you are a great man. And the only way I can make this up to you is I'm going to be your wife. And from that day forward, I made plans to divorce my husband. So basically what made me, I may have suffered from desperate wish fulfillment from 1991 to 1996 because I desperately wanted him to be the great man that I thought he was. And then in 1996, that bubble burst with Loree McBride, and I thought, he's not that great after all. He called me on the phone and said, and made a music album for me, but he didn't mean what he said. He didn't mean what he sang. And then I found out, to my amazement, in December 99, that he was the great man that I thought he was. And I thought, for 3 years, I would get on my phone and call him a coward, a wimp, because he had Loree in his life. And I said, I can tell you don't love her. So why do you hang around with her? It must be money motivating you. You want to keep your big fancy Hollywood celebrity income, and I'm a problem for you. So you got feelings for me, but you don't have the courage and the honor to honor those feelings. So you hang around with this woman who's obviously inferior to me. I know you don't love her, and I thought the only thing I can conclude is you're a coward. So for 3 years, I actually threw him out of my dreams. That's not desperate wish fulfillment. That's dealing with what I saw as my reality back then. The reality is, and I learned this in December 99, Loree McBride's a Vatican agent or a Jesuit, and he only allowed her into his life because he was willing to die for me. And once I figured that out, that is why I've stuck with this man. You see, my ideal husband is Jesus Christ. And that's why Jesus never appears to me, because he knows that's how I feel. See, Satan would love, Jesus cannot make love to a human woman. He's deity. He just can't. And so Jesus knows that my dream man is Jesus Christ. He knows that. That's why Zach Knight was able to successfully seduce me, because he tried to impersonate Jesus to me. Satan knows that. So Jesus, that's why Jesus hasn't appeared to me. You think, well, if Jesus is so real, why doesn't he come and talk to you? The only way I hear from Jesus is through Brent Spiner. And Jesus does that on purpose, because if I was to meet him one-on-one, it's possible that Satan would then try to impersonate him to me and try to come across to me as a lover, and that I'd fall for it because Jesus is my ideal man. So that's why Jesus doesn't appear to me. He knows me. He knows that he's my ideal husband, so he won't show up. He says, nope, I need her too much, and she's part of my plan, and if I show up in person, Satan's going to impersonate me and try to woo her and seduce her and trick. So that's why Jesus doesn't meet with me. But that's why I love Brent. Anyways, yeah, desperate wish fulfillment to have a husband like Jesus, and I found him. It's Brent. So no, I don't suffer from desperate wish fulfillment. It's Loree McBride who suffers from that.